I'm on vacation.
Oh, I thought maybe you got fired. I thought maybe you got fired.
Well, if the severance package.
Also,
Yeah. Well, you need to quit holding back and say what's on your mind.
I really think of.
that's a hard time. Spend your vacation.
Let's see, I've painted cars today, I've ordered balloon bouquets that I have to pick up in an hour and a half. I have to do the breakfast burritos for tomorrow morning. Then we have to deliver the balloons and I still have to run final times onto labels for folks because there are people that are going to watch tonight.
That's all?
That's all.
You can probably
And
handle
Jana's like, well, can I come with you? I said, well, no, I'll be an hour and a half by myself, darling.
Wow, what the hell have you got here?
I can make her some coffee. I'll get her a cup.
Waiting for you to pick up some card and they told me to
Just
pick up
black,
some
right? Just coffee.
all the stuff there, so well. I picked them up for Larry if he wants to send a note to somebody or whatever.
Thank you. Yeah, and when do they close?
I'm not sure, I think in August or, not the card shop, but the museum, card shop. I spent many hours in that card shop.
Yes. We have two.
Yeah.
Really sad to see that.
Yeah, I get a lot of cards there,
Yeah.
especially fruit. Cowboy ones that got a price on. Yes.
I'd share with you.
I thought I had mine with me, but I couldn't.
But you don't?
Oops, that's the wrong way. I printed it off with that.
There we go. We're talking about the minutes?
No, an agenda. I have the minutes.
I get it back, yeah.
There's a new agenda out there.
Yeah, I have it. I
Everything's
printed
on the record.
it. I lifted it.
At the airport?
There you go.
Sister-in-law's coming in next Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And
You gonna wait a little for David?
Gotta
or
give
for,
it
Mary, or just start with
No, yeah, but
This is,
down at the airport, so I was
here.
trying to figure
Yes.
out where.
Well, Rita was here a minute ago.
Yeah, pick it up,
Yeah.
and how much money she needed.
So what age group was Tia
Okay.
in now?
She
Nine?
is 910.
So I didn't get a chance to scan through the results this morning. I don't think 9 and 10 is in the results this morning, in the camera.
No, they don't, the prelims I don't think were in at all, or
Yeah.
Oh, they were? So they would have been in, they swam Wednesday. And then 8 unders and 13 ups swam yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Yeah, so now she
Meet
made it
monthly?
in
I'm sorry.
Do you meet monthly?
3 events.
That's right.
All right.
Okay.
This group is monthly.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she shaved a lot of time.
Good deal.
Yeah.
The third,
Usually it's third
We've got
round.
at least 3 people who aren't
So
here.
what's your
but
role?
Don't
What's your
get
title?
started.
so
Then
I
we'll
actually
be
work with volunteers in
Oh,
the
you're
town.
volunteer?
about
Oh,
late.
cool.
So
I'm not a volunteer, but I work with volunteers. My
as soon as
position
Rita
is
comes
part-time.
back in, I think we'll call the meeting to order.
Okay.
So I'm in and out, doing all kinds of things
Okay.
for all of our events or extra projects, any volunteer that wants to be a part of.
Mhm.
If you didn't know it,
Sure, that keeps you busy.
Brian went on a vacation, and so Kevin Cologne is subbing for him.
Yeah.
So it will take a minute. We'll go around and introduce ourselves to Kevin. So Bob, you want to start? Introduce yourself.
Well, Kevin, Bob Morgan.
Hello, Bob Morgan.
Walt Ackerman.
Kieran Woligorsky
Larry, we've met. So.
Harold Woligorsky, Wally.
and Joe Roberts.
Thank you.
And,
And I'm Audrey and Maureen Hogue, who I guess is many generations back, born and raised in Superior, is
yeah,
that right?
yeah, she's descended from the Hague family and Hampton families, yeah. Right. Okay, so I assume that Mary, Lindsay, and Katie are coming, but let's see them. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with Karen Wally Gorski doing our minutes.
Okay, Historical Commission meeting minutes, June 16th.
It was very full.
Meeting was called to order by Chairperson Larry Dorsey. In attendance were commission members Walt Ackerman, Mary Cartwright, Larry Dorsey, Lindsay Flewelling, Katie Olson, Errol Waligorski, and Karen Waligorski. Staff Brian Meyer and others Maureen Hoke. The minutes of the April 21st meeting were read. Wally Waligorski moved they be approved as amended. Mary Cartwright seconded the motion and the motion carried. The treasurer's reports were given as follows. Larry Dorsey reported that the fire truck account currently has a balance of $282. Brian reported there was a $2,253.17 in this 2017 historic preservation account. The capital improvement account has a balance of $25,000. Debriefings were discussed as follows. There were approximately 25 people on the historic walk May 6th. There was a good turnout of approximately 15 people at the June museum opening. The Square Nail Lifetime Achievement Awards at Chautauqua May 15th went well. Larry, Wally, and Karen attended. The first Friday art walk at the Louisville Historical Museum was well attended, approximately 100 people. The history of Superior was highlighted that evening and 5 commission members attended. It was good exposure for our group. The Superior Chamber of Commerce Awards was held on June 6th. The commission was a finalist for the Service Group of the Year Award. Walt Ackerman received the Superior Achiever Award. Larry attended the Boulder Heritage Roundtable meeting on June 15th. Okay, number 2, the Cataloging Filing Committee worked one session this month. Work is continuing. Number 3, there was no news reported on the oral history video QR project. Number 4, there is no news on the Superior Information in Wikipedia project. Number 5, Brian gave an update on the fire truck work and showed some recent pictures. Completion of all work and return of the truck to Superior is expected in the near future, in time for the 4th of July parade. The cost is expected to be approximately $16,000. Number 6, Karen reported that thank you notes, gift cards were mailed to Jenna Wheaton and Laura Vernon for their presentation at our spring program. Additionally, a thank you note was mailed to Mary Cartwright for her donation of baby shoes and a thinking of you card to David Cartwright. Number 7, the group discussed the rooftop drop. The flyer produced by Katie Olson was included and it was very well done, but the timing of the drop could have been better for our activities. We will not participate in the July drop. All agreed it was a good investment for $195. Number 8, the commission will be following up with Rita Dozal on the letter written to the board concerning a cemetery access road and also the status of having a couple commission members to legally be able to drive the fire truck. Number 9, Karen will check with Jill on the status of typing up Jenny Crawford's notes on driving to Superior from Illinois and life in the industrial mine camp. Number 10, Brian updated the group on details for a field trip on July 12th to the museum, Grasso Park, and the cemetery by participants of the Impact Sports Summer Day Camp. The program will be from 9 to 12 with 6 to 12-year-olds participating. The group will start at the cemetery and then walk to Grasso and Asti Parks. More information is forthcoming as the date nears. Number 11, Lindsay has produced a list of long-term planning items which she will email to us for discussion in the July meeting. New business. Staffing for the July 1 museum opening was discussed. Number 2, there will be a Boulder Heritage Roundtable meeting on July 20th. Number 3, some members will meet on June 21st at noon for a barn cleanup. They will mark items for disposal. Number 4, Larry reported on a discussion he had with Carol Beam concerning the industrial mine open space area. There is a question on who currently owns the mineral rights. Several years back, when the area was to be designated as an historic landmark, Rocky Mountain Fuel Company stated no. Boulder County will pursue looking into the condition of the fan house. Number 5, Brian reported that commission members Bob Morgan, Katie Olson, and Karen Woligorsky have been reappointed to the commission with terms expiring in June 2020. Number 6, next, plans for the 4th of July activities were discussed. The fire truck will be in the parade, which begins at 8:30 a.m. Only commission members are to be riding in it for safety reasons. The truck will be on display at the entrance to the park with our booth nearby, just inside the park, during the pancake breakfast. There will be 2 to 3 people at each of the 2 locations. Number 7, Mary Cartwright discussed the need for some new curtains in the museum. Karen will help her to shop for them. Number 8, Wally brought up the issue of having a cover for the jail cell to protect it from the elements. And number 9, Wally moved that the meeting be adjourned at 11:40, and Lindsay seconded the motion. Our next meeting will be July 21st.
Any additions or corrections?
Just one note, Karen, we didn't meet to clean up the barn. We just met to, so just take out those few words. We just met to.
Oh, okay.
Figure out what was in the barn.
Yeah, figure out what needed to go.
Let's see, that was,
And designate which stuff.
Yeah.
that was, which item? I'm trying to find it quick like here.
It's near the bottom.
It's in the new item, new business item.
Near the bottom. About it. And then here.
I don't see it near the bottom.
Okay, suddenly I can't discuss the.
We need some help here. Which number was it?
Mary Carey, 4th of July.
In the board meetings, it was number 6, but I don't know that it's exactly the same.
Reporting. Oh, here, it's number 3 under new business. Okay, so it's not a barn, it's not a cleanup. Okay, I'll fix that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, some town will need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Anybody move to accept the minutes as
So moved.
corrected? Okay, Walt made the motion.
I'll second it.
Bob second. Yeah, I got it before Lindsay did. Huh?
Yeah. Got it yourself.
Yeah, I got it.
Smooth quicker than Lindsay.
Okay. You all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, and then for Lindsay and Katie and Mary and David, Kevin Cologne is here today subbing for,
Hi, Kevin.
Brian is off in Utah someplace, and so,
Kevin's been around before.
yes.
Been around.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Fire truck account, Robert.
It's $310 and, $310.00.
Okay, oh, man.
We deposited $28 cash from the museum opening. And then in the meantime, we've sold 7 books and given the money to Town of Superior.
Okay. Yeah, we sold a few books at the 4th of
Yeah,
July.
Yeah.
five at 4th of July, 1 at the museum opening, and then 1 at the summer camp tour.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, those people crashed the tour that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
right.
fun.
They were really excited
Yeah.
to be able to have a private tour.
Yeah.
All the way from Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, from Sydney.
So you got a Lost Superior book in Australia eventually.
So Kevin, you have the preservation account? balance?
Yes, $2,253.17.
Okay, thank you.
And do you know what's left in the capital improvement account? I don't know if the fire truck's been paid for yet or not.
Yeah, the fire truck is done, that's finished. I only have the historic fire truck restoration line item, not the complete number there. We can look that up for you.
Oh,
I know
Well-
talking with Patrick that the unexpended balance has been reallocated.
For
okay,
the
so
fire truck, yeah.
Yeah,
the
the
base,
fire
the balance is basically zero then in capital improvement?
Oh, capital improvement, no, that's different than fire truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the capital improvement, I only have
No,
the
we're
fire
still, there's
truck.
still money in there.
Okay, because we were carrying a balance of 25,000 yet in the previous minutes. I didn't know how to
Well, if that's fire
reflect.
truck, then that's probably down to zero, I'd say. So maybe we should,
That's right. Yeah, there was some left over, but it was reallocated,
Yeah.
as you say.
and if anybody wonders why, I can say, without any details, that last year's went over the allocated amount, so then the town picked it up. So since it wasn't completely consumed this time, they reallocated it to someplace else. So
The town was really generous with that anyway, so
that's right, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
thankful.
No, but why don't we check with Brian when he gets back, just to make sure.
Okay, yeah,
that
Okay.
we're correct on that. Okay. Thanks, Bob and Kevin. Okay, so in the old business, July 1st opening, I'm gonna suggest we gotta keep a notebook or something and just do anything else, just hash marks on how many people show up. Because I sit there and try to remember how many people showed up, I can't remember. So we'll do have maybe 5 or so? I think, first time.
I think so.
Or
Pretty
less.
close.
Or less.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There weren't very many while I was there.
No, it was pretty low in attendance, I think. July 4th activities recap. I think the first thing I'd say is that the location of our booth was much better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so.
Had a lot of visitors coming by. Ooh, yeah.
So we had a good location and didn't have any competition with face painters or whatever, and so that went well. Any other reactions?
A lot of people stopped by the truck, didn't they, David? Well,
Yeah.
you were up there at the truck.
We handed out a lot of the firemen's hats, and there's some left, and I was gonna bring them today, and on the way out the door, I got a phone call I had to take, and it blew my chain of thought, so I didn't bring them.
We can just bring them to the museum.
Okay, and
Yeah.
just store them there?
Yeah, and when
Okay.
kids come by, they can get them or save them for something.
That ought to work, yeah. Yeah, so I thought the 4th of July went well. I had to walk pretty far to get our pancakes, though. I don't know about
That was on purpose, though.
Yeah, that's hard to people.
Get people to go
Go
through
through.
instead
Yeah.
of just coming in to the gate, getting their pancakes and walking out.
I think that worked well, too, because that's what they
Had a
did.
good turnout.
They had a good turnout. I thought it was less than other years, but the firefighters that were flipping pancakes, Chief Mike thought there were more.
Oh, really?
But they used up all their batter, but I think they had some cooked pancakes left over, but they used all their batter, they said.
Well, it was a good event, I think.
They said the biggest request they had was for gluten-free pancakes.
Oh,
Is that right?
We should say too, the horn on the fire truck broke. And Matt's gonna get, the guy who did a refinishing of it is going to get a hold of Matt and get it
Yeah.
repaired.
Yeah, it was just
Some
too
little
small.
tab- There are little tabs that are very small, and 2 of them broke off, so.
It apparently happened before kids.
Yeah, it happened
through,
during the
yeah.
parade.
Yeah, Bob, yeah, you're our
Yeah.
witness
Tried
to
to
that.
put it-
Bob pushed too hard on the button.
He's been, he goes to the gym all the time, so he's pretty buff these days, I
You
think.
just like to hear the ooga horn.
And then the siren would fade in and out, you know, it would blow for a while, and then you'd have to let it rest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A little overexerted, huh? Yeah, so July, from our
But
perspective.
it was a good turnout. I thought the people had good comments about it,
Yeah.
fire truck.
Oh, yeah.
Which it deserved, yeah.
From our perspective, I think the 4th of July went real well this year.
And the booth looked great with all the sample, all the things that you guys brought. It looked great.
So, met with the roundtable yesterday, and I don't think there was anything particularly earth-shattering come out of that. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe do a little summary, so I won't have to take up time here. But for one thing, Niwot Historical Society's got as their 2017-18 programs set up, so I'll pass that stuff out later. Nobody went to ANFRAM in June. Sports Camp Day. So what, you participants want to share the reaction to the Sports Camp Day?
I think it went very well myself. It was. I'm amazed at some of the stamina of the young kids. You know, having to walk away from the sports center up there, up to the museum, up to the cemetery, down to it, and then walking back. You know, and some of those kids, you know, their legs were a little short. Yeah. One of the older kids got hit by a yellow jacket, though.
Yeah, one of the real older kids. How are you doing?
It's gone. Yes, it's gone.
Didn't have to call 911 or anything.
No. I squeezed it good, and I couldn't even feel it by supper time, so that was a
good deal. I was real pleased with how the kids were too. They were 6 to 10 or 12, 6 to 12, I think.
Was there too much time, or was it okay? Did it get filled okay?
Got filled okay as far as I could tell.
Yeah, I think so. They were extremely interested.
Yeah,
they really paid attention for the most part for kids.
Yeah, the 6-year-olds, we never had 6-year-olds before, and that was kind of a, you know, they're here, there, and everywhere, and their attention span's about this long, and so it's trying to keep them away from the machinery was interesting.
But they wanted to go up in the sleeping loft in the house,
right.
too. They all wanted to crawl up. How can we get up there?
So I finally did my signal, which was when I holler, yo, real loudly, you have to stop talking and listen. And no running. So we survived. No running?
Wow.
What slowed them down a little
do
bit?
to prepare the kids different from the second grade classroom work?
Yeah, that's what we tried to do.
Yeah, but what did they do beforehand? I know that the classrooms do a study.
I don't know if they did anything.
I don't think they did anything.
No.
As I understand it. It was
I think they
just
knew that the kids knew they were going to do it.
Okay, but so they came in cold.
Yeah.
I wonder if
That's my best
upped the interest.
knowledge.
They did get colored books.
Up the interest of maybe.
Upped the curiosity because they hadn't heard it.
They all knew they were going to go into jail, so they were waiting for that. They had heard that, so they were going, when do we get to go into jail?
Yes, they were anxious.
Yeah, they were anxious for that.
By the way, Rita, we don't know where the key to the left side of the jail is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
So we may.
Well, we would like to get another combination lock like the ones that are on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought we had a combination lock on both sides.
No.
Huh. We should just get one instead of trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
The camp counselors or whatever you want to call it, the staff that was with the kids, they offered to get the bolt cutters out of their van and so they cut it on. I said, maybe not this time.
Well, they come prepared for everything. Bolt cutters.
Well,
they liked the cemetery, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mary, you were saying that they were really impressed
I
with
thought
it.
they were, they were impressed. And they were respectful. They weren't modeling or anything, but they were respectful. And, yeah.
I think
it was interesting. I think it went well.
Yes.
It went well, and I think Jill's question is something to think about for next year, because maybe there should be some preparation ahead of time, get them going, or maybe they came.
Maybe because they weren't prepared.
Yeah.
It was all new.
Yeah.
Yes, it was all new.
Completely fresh.
Yeah.
One little guy he lives here in Superior, and he said, "Oh, I've been here before. I've been in here. I've been in the museum." He was telling me every step of the way. Well, I've been down, you know. But so he was kind of revving up some of the other kids his age to say, because he would say, "Well, this is where I live.
How
and this is
old
what
was
I
he?
did." He was probably about 8, I'd say.
So he might have just done the second
I think
grade.
he did.
But he actually.
And there was one who had done that.
Yeah,
Those
right.
original Superior,
Right.
yeah. Well, the only thing I'd say on the critical side was we were a little short of personnel, and as a result, Mary and I had to be at the cemetery early, 9 o'clock, and so it only left a small group to get things ready at Astor Park, and so, again, it's, assuming it comes up again sometime in the future, we'll just keep working on making it as good as possible, so.
Well, we all pitched in and got all the stuff out, so we were fine.
Yeah, it worked out, so.
It was perfect. And there are other camps, not camps, but, groups and things that, we haven't done this before, you haven't done a camp like this or a group?
No, first time.
So, I think about, can't think of her, the after-school thing, that's over, I wonder if she would bring home
Rock
her.
Creek.
Rock Creek after school? Yeah, thank you. But I'm not suggesting that we need to add more,
Yeah, that's.
but it was a
Well, it
really,
is a community service, it's a service for the
Right.
community, and, yeah.
I think it was great.
Was the
and
fire truck out?
Yeah, we had the fire truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire
Oh,
truck
good.
was out.
So that was
Got a
good.
few drops of rain on it.
Tried to rain.
Concerned about that.
Yeah, it tried to rain a little bit.
But we had Bob polish it before it went down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Took off his shirt.
Acid rain. Okay.
This didn't get on the agenda, but I thought I'd ask, or maybe throw it back over to Kevin to talk to Brian. We did the barn, designated the stuff in the barn, and I don't know if it's been moved out yet.
It hadn't had the last Wednesday.
So I guess that's why you guys saw that.
So the town is responsible for the cleanup then? after
Yeah,
you guys
town's
sorted?
gonna dumpsterize it, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, most of it's dumpster.
Yeah, Mary and I went in and took duct tape and put on it, remove.
Except it's so dusty and 2 or 3 weeks has gone by, so probably all the signs have fallen to the ground, I think.
And
Literally.
make sure they have masks on when they go in.
Yeah, there's a lot of
There's a lot
California raisins on the floor.
And then we couldn't
Mouse
get the,
feces.
Or bigger.
Like I said.
We couldn't get the house unlocked that day. The padlock
Yes.
was stuck.
Oh, really?
so-
yeah, remember
That's-
the door to the house was, we just couldn't get it
Oh,
locked
yes.
up. So that needs attention.
That lock's
before-
been a problem.
Yeah.
Before,
Well, I was able to get that
They're
over
aware
for
of
the,
yeah.
That's a combination lock.
For
Yeah,
the
for the
camp.
kids.
yeah, for the camp. You sort of have to just talk to it in whatever language.
It was also really hot that day,
Yes.
so I don't know if that makes things melt together or something.
Melting. Okay, oh, by the way, going on to number 2, Alan and Gail both now have commitments on Fridays, and that's why they're not here, and it's kind of creating a problem with our cataloging group too, as well as just their general positive input. So there's no new news on cataloging. Oral history?
I
Project
have no
O.
news.
No news on oral history. And this goes to Maureen if she has anything new on the Wikipedia project.
Okay, just a moment. So let's see, that is.
That's number 3. I'm sorry, 4.
4. Okay.
Oh, yes, yes, exactly, Larry. That's why I had a question about your cataloging system. I understand it's computerized and you use an app called PastPerfect.
Yes.
That's right, yes.
Oh, it's computerized
just
and
told her
you
she wasn't
use
allowed
an
to.
app called PastPerfect.
Yes.
Yes, I wondered if you had a master printout of what is currently there.
Well, we can do that. That's one of the functions that PastPerfect has.
Oh, yes, could I pick one up at the August meeting? I wanted to compare what you already had before I started.
We'll give it a shot. It's been a
I
while
have
since
one.
we've done that.
Alan did send me a
That's not on
copy of
PastPerfect,
your
that's
Oh,
just
what
off
is this?
Excel. That's from
Indeed, I
Excel.
have that.
Okay.
But my
That might work.
documents
Is this the same?
are
I mean,
all
doesn't
Autry,
cover
so I wondered if you had those already. It would help to
That
see
might work
the
though, Katie. It
master.
might serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a question.
Yeah, I wasn't quite
Yeah.
sure either. I don't understand what she's talking about.
She wants a copy just so that she can compare, so we should find her.
I understand that. I didn't hear what
get
you
her-
said last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would help.
We can get her a copy of what's been cataloged, yes.
Mhm.
And I can give her this
Yeah.
to start.
Yes. Well, Larry, I also wondered what your protocol was if a person wanted to research off that computer. Do you have that established yet?
Inventory
Not
tool, not a
formalized?
reporting
Protocol,
tool, right?
If anybody could go online and look through it, I don't think we have that.
No.
Inventory of items, isn't it?
Let me give you a chance to
Well, I
answer, okay?
might be able to access that computer, we shall see. I could bring my consultant over and have him check it out, but my screen reader might be able to hook into it. Could save you a step printing things out.
That would be
The
great.
past perfect
I have very slick.
has all sorts of printout possibilities. And it is, we don't have a protocol established, but part of the purpose of that kind of a program is for researchers to have access to it. Yeah. That may not be a complete enough answer, but she's welcome. I'm doing all this groaning because it's a complicated system.
Yep.
That's why. Those are aspects we haven't done with it. So it's kind of to do with our, only about 3 or 4 people trained on it, and only 2 really trained on it, and getting into an area we haven't done before.
Okay, so what, sorry, bring me up to speed, what is her role? And is it just going through and recognizing?
I guess if her question is,
Historical
can she have access to Past Perfect to do research? The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Larry, I'm curious, does Past Perfect just inventory the items we have for the museum? Or does it record an archival of historic dates and events and that type of activity?
Well, when you enter something, you enter it, then you write a description of it, and you put down an estimated time span that it's used and where it's located and
Right.
that sort of thing.
Right, so in relation to an item.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't say, you know, coal was discovered on this day and these, so yeah, it's an archival of, an inventory archive versus a event archive.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure from the question.
It's a
and I was
library,
misunderstanding.
and libraries, railroad museum library use it too. So
I think you can do some archival
Yeah.
stuff on it too, can't you?
I don't know what you mean by that, though. Do
Well,
archival stuff.
the date such and such happened, and the date such and such.
Well, if you want to go to that effort,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's available if you want to put the time into doing it.
Yeah.
David?
Can Past Perfect, can it be accessed remotely through
Not that I know of.
website?
As far as I know, and it's kind of past what my practical level on this. So.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's on our hard drive, and that's where it is.
Okay.
And it's
I
backed
just
up on the hard
wondered
drive.
if it was possible that
Yeah.
Maureen could have access to it without you having to do all this work up
Good
front
question.
beforehand. That's all I know. I just thought try and save you some work.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can get a grant from Boulder County or Historical or someplace, you know, to actually move this to a more current app or accessible.
It is
Well, it
current
is.
software.
It's-
Yeah.
They update the software.
Yeah.
They update the software, but if it's on a hard drive and you can't access it, I'm just saying, I've only heard a little bit about this, so I don't know. But if we need to move it to something else or somehow load it someplace else, put it someplace else.
Yeah, but is that
We need a
something-
technologist to do that.
Yeah, I
Nadine's
think
been
that's,
here.
I don't think we're there yet. Okay, so the fire truck work is completed, except for the horn button.
He said there was maybe a speedometer issue too, but all that's getting looked at.
Oh, yeah,
fixed.
that's right.
Speedometer, well.
Speedometer varying, they're gonna take that, he will take that apart too and look at it.
Once it got went over 70, it just didn't.
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, you're going 70 miles an hour, and you're only going about 10.
I'd just like to raise a point. I'd just like to raise a point about the radio set that's on the back of the truck. I don't think that's actually weatherproof, so I'm wondering whether the council really needs to buy some sort of weatherproofing for it, because if it gets stuck in a really bad rainstorm, you could end up with the receiver blown or something.
Yeah.
I wondered about that too. It looks like, it doesn't look like it's prepared for for weather, does it?
It's more for like a test bench environment than an exterior weather.
Let's check on that. Yeah, because if it's in the garage, no problem, but if we're in the parade and the downpour starts, we could have.
Or if you're driving it someplace else and then coming back from,
Yeah.
then you could have run into weather.
Righto.
Not to mention count the lights and snow. I mean,
What?
not to mention count the lights and snow. I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah. Could happen there too, huh?
Weather.
Well, I know that all of us feel very strongly that we really appreciate the support of the town government on the restoration of that fire truck. It's an absolutely beautiful job. And
Yes.
something we never thought was going to happen. Had some good fortune on that.
While you're talking about the fire truck, this cash that we collect from the museum, we've been putting it in what we call a fire truck restoration account. Now, what do you want to do with that account once this is all complete? I mean, you might want to knock that around, how you want to handle that money. It's
never complete.
That's right.
Okay, all right, that's all I want to. Because you know, you don't want to put the money into the general account because these people are donating the money with the idea that it's going to go to the historic
if we could
function.
waterproof the radio for $200, then we can take it out of that account, I suppose.
Well, yeah, whatever, you know.
Yeah, let's keep that in mind. Right, sure, Bob.
And just to add to that, there's been talk at the town board meetings about that eventually we'd like to have a place for the fire truck, and that really came from you all here in the town center, possibly, you know, where if we have a community space that's built in town center, that's the towns of Superior's, that we even talked about, you know, having a window, you know, kind of like a old storefront, department store, you know, window with the truck could sit inside and be on display all the time. And so that hasn't been lost. We've talked about it a couple different times at town board meetings, but it's a few years out yet, so keep track of it as we go forward so that we don't lose that view of the fact that someday we'd like to have it sit out, lit up all the time so you can see it inside, you know, in a window or something, rather than stuck
Viewable
away.
someplace,
Yeah,
yeah.
viewable someplace all the time.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us of that.
Well, has the town given up the rental of the space there at the,
Give it up.
Guardian? Yeah, Guardian.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's been parked over here now for
Yeah.
several, you know.
Yeah.
all the
I don't know
time.
about that. I wondered about that myself.
If they're paying rent for that space.
Because we could put
not
some of
being-
our surplus.
Well, and maybe you want to put it back into the truck back over there in the wintertime, I don't know, maybe.
But that's all heated.
Right.
Yeah, but they use it for, you know, putting on their snow blades and things like that. The garage, I mean, yeah.
It's the office for like Matt and some of those other guys.
Yeah, they have their office there.
You know, I think they said that last winter too, but I don't think it was ever, we didn't lose the fire truck location last winter, so.
No. Yeah, let's follow up on that and just see what, Old Town Hall.
Rita, I think, I forget who it was who mentioned about there might be arts funding for making the fire engine available for display somewhere that you might qualify for a grant or something.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good.
I think it might be one of your colleagues who said that.
Sandy
Anyway,
probably,
maybe.
but that's good, that's a good point. In our, I'll bring that up, or have Sandy Pennington bring that up in the Cultural Arts and Public Spaces Committee, the new CAPS committee. They meet on the fourth Thursday, so next Thursday night is their next meeting. But we're always looking for grants that will help expand our cultural and arts environment and create better public spaces, more enjoyable and more usable public spaces within the town of Superior. And the other thing that we have too is we have a couple $1 million that has been budgeted, so to speak, out of the tax increment financing of the Superior Town Center that will go to arts. So that $2 million was in as a placeholder for art, and that money is being tapped for the first art project, which will be the sculpture or some kind of art that's going to be in the roundabout here on McCaslin. So we're actually putting that request for proposals out to all the artists in Colorado and anywhere else that might want to compete for the opportunity to provide a piece of art sculpture for that roundabout in there. And it's a pretty big deal. And then the money would primarily come from the tax increment financing that was provided by the town 4 years ago to the developer to get that built out. And then we'll have another roundabout, which is the smaller one on Main Street. You know, as you go around the big roundabout on McCaslin and go on Main Street, eventually, when we can actually drive on it, there's a smaller roundabout in there, and we'll put another complementary piece of art on that roundabout as well. But the first one is for the big one.
Okay, thanks for that. That's good information. Correspondence, Karen?
Yeah, there was one thank you note sent out this month to Bridget Bacon at the Louisville Museum, and this was for featuring Superior history in their First Friday Art Walk in June.
Okay, thanks for doing that, Karen. Yeah, that was, well, I guess we already talked about it. It was a good event, a good exposure, and Bridget's our good partner. Okay, update on the cemetery access and the fire truck driver permission to Rita.
Yes, so we brought that up, I did, at the last board meeting, and the board unanimously agreed that members of the committee and volunteers should be allowed to drive the fire truck. And now, so Matt Magley is working on letting the liability company, insurance company know, and then you'll all have to select who those members are going to be. And then what would be required is their names and, you know, your driver's license and all that would be supplied to the town's insurance company. And you have a little bit of training. You know, Wally and I were kind of joking about that. Wally said, I'm the one, or many others trained other people how to drive it within the town. So, but, you know, just to know that people understand how to drive it and what's required, and then that you will be allowed now to be able to drive it. You'll become part of, or you'll be covered in the insurance as a volunteer from the town and be covered under our insurance plan.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Yeah, I don't know why that was so hard, but I apologize it took so long. I just can't believe that. And then we pretty much had to kind of say, do it. And I'm pointing over to Matt's chair, not to yours, Kevin. You know, because they were concerned that you're driving down parade routes and things like that, you might have a possibility of running over somebody or whatever. I said, you have that with whoever is driving.
That's true.
It's not just a town staff person that you might have that potential for liability or accident, but and volunteers work in every nonprofit governmental organization that I know of, and they drive, and one of our best advocates for this was Sandy Hammerly, who is the financial director for the Arvada Food Bank in Arvada. And she said, we couldn't survive if we didn't have volunteer drivers to go pick up food and distribute food for the food bank. And there's absolutely no problem from an insurance coverage of insurance for volunteers. So after that, then it was pretty much a done deal. We got that done.
Great.
Thank you again.
Well, we'll see. You haven't got
No.
you haven't gotten the keys yet handed to you.
We're a lot closer than we used to be.
We're closer than we were. And the other thing is, I also got the developer and Matt Magley to both say in a public meeting, the last public meeting, that they will provide access to the cemetery and will restore parking spaces on the east side of the cemetery, kind of where they were before.
Excellent.
And I said that in the meeting too. I just wanted you all to say it publicly on record that you will be providing a road access, not a trail sidewalk access to there. There will actually be a street road access drivable by cars, by the public to that. Now, where they're going to have it now, where it's being planned, is that we're working with Louisville to propose and fund a bridge over 36 on Campus Drive. So Campus Drive is 88th and Campus Drive. Campus Drive goes to all the Monarch schools, the school campus. And then it comes, if you're heading west on Campus Drive, you're going to go past the hospital, Vista Hospital here, and then it stops. And so right where it stops on 36 and the Vista Hospital would be where it's proposed that we put a bridge over 36, a drivable bridge. Right now there's a pedestrian, a bike bridge, but a drivable bridge across into the town center. And that would be, and from that, then there would be a street from the town center that would connect to that Campus Drive bridge that goes up and over 36 into Louisville. And right at the end of that bridge, proposed bridge, where the street connects to the bridge would be where there would be a street that would come off and access the cemetery.
That's great.
Does that, so you kind of got an idea where that is. So if you think about, or if you know, you've seen the rust-colored bridge that goes across for bikes and pedestrian, it would just be to the south of that, or possibly, I think it's more to the south, because you can't do this where you're going to run into the hospital. But it's right there where that bridge currently resides for pedestrian and bicycle. It wouldn't be attached to that bridge, it would be standing beside it, and then cars would actually go over it. But in the meantime, then, I said that could be a few years out. We're going through funding. I'm going to take it to the Denver Regional Council of Governments in February and March of next year to see if we can get money out of the DRCOG, it's called the Denver Regional Transportation Improvement Projects. And that would be then a 4-year cycle that starts at the end of 2018 and then 4 years forward. But we get federal grants and then we have to match 20% of them. But hopefully we can get that bridge at least partially funded by those grants from DRCOG. But again, we're talking like at a minimum 2 years, maybe 4 years out. But in the meantime, I said, as they build out the rest of the Superior Town Center, as they go from where they're building the houses now, I can see them through the window, and move to the south, then they're going to replat all of that area, actually create new streets. And one of those streets, I said, must be on there is a street access to the cemetery.
Great. Thank you
And
so
again, we
much.
just have to keep pressing it, because I've been saying this for 4 years now, even before I got on the board, then when I was on the Planning Commission for a year, and then after, I've been saying constantly, we must have street access to the cemetery. And finally now we have them to actually say they're putting it on the plats, and they publicly said they're going to do it. So we'll just keep pressing. It might be another 3 or 4 years or before we get it, but it depends on how fast that development moves to the south from where it currently is today.
Well, I know I speak for all of us in saying we really appreciate the efforts you
Well, at the present time now,
trustees have done on this. So.
there's no access from the east to this development.
No, none.
I sure think they would want to have an access from the east.
I would think so too, because the only way in and out is McCaslin, right here.
Yeah.
And Marshall Road here it stops. They're not planning on building the bridge over Coal Creek into the town, the intersection right here, Marshall and McCaslin. So that was supposed to have been done first, and now we heard at the last board meeting, the bridge across Coal Creek will probably be the last thing they do.
Really?
Yeah, I know, it doesn't make any sense. I said, how could this be?
Well, I thought
You
it
know,
was-
I'm
Even a big creek.
I know,
that was
and
in-
it's a way into, you know, if they build another hotel, which they want to, and Main Street, you have to have more than just one way in, which is the roundabout.
Absolutely.
They're gonna be building Discovery Parkway, you know, and connected in, but that'll be more for residential use on that south side of there. But, I mean, I can't imagine anybody that was going to Boulder Valley Eyes, now called Sports Stable, which I hate that name, so you still refer to it as Boulder Valley Eye. Main Street will be the main, you know, the roundabout, and I know if you've been on it yet, it's not completely open. I wish I would have waited till it was completely open, all the cones gone and barrels before they actually opened it up. I think we were better off going around it than this, but that's open, and then eventually it's gonna open to Main Street. By the end of this summer, hopefully, or early fall, Main Street will be open. But that's the only way in and out, and it's a mess, you know. If you got 1 million cars coming and going to Boulder Valley Ice every year, it's a lot of traffic.
Thank you, Rita, very much. Number 8 is Jenny Crawford's writings from Denzel.
It's about 75% done.
Oh.
And there will be 2 copies when it's finished, one typed as written and one typed that has been proofread.
An edited version.
Edited version,
And what are we
yes.
gonna do with it when it's finished? Just make it part of our archives?
Enjoy it as part of our archives, and if there's a need, or, I mean, we could almost publish it if we wanted to, group it with the newsletters on the website, something like that.
Oh.
It's very interesting.
It is very
it's
interesting.
very
Everybody
interesting.
should read them.
Yeah.
I'd probably you take a copy and have it on display at a museum if somebody wants to
Mhm.
take a look at it, it's there to.
Yeah, so.
Paper copy in the museum, and electronic copy on
Mhm.
the website with the story and stuff.
We could put it out on, you put it out on Amazon too, and then if someone wants to buy it, you know, and then they print it, you can actually publish it.
I haven't heard about this page.
Yeah, and then you could actually publish it, or, you know, if someone buys it on Amazon, then they actually print it and mail it out. You know, so if there's things like that we want to create a little booklet or book that you can have out there. It's really easy to go on their website and publish your own book and then have it available for printing if anybody would buy it. Just something to think about in the future.
Well, thanks for working on that, Jill.
Yeah, thanks, Jill.
Yeah,
It's a
And
good
then,
read.
It's okay with Lindsay, can we put this at the end?
Yeah.
Let's want to go through the agenda and then, because the number 9 is almost like a little work session there, I think. don't you?
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
Okay. And I put ideas for spending 2017 budget on here because you can see we have over $2,000, and so obviously we need to spend it in the next few months. And so, anybody have any ideas? Well, go ahead, Mary.
Well, we talked last time and got approval for the curtains, so maybe you and I can get together in a couple weeks and go get that. So that'd be one expense, but that's not a very expensive one, probably under $100 or something.
Yeah,
One idea I
Stronger
had.
curtains for the museum, okay.
I think you should technically redo the back porch of the house, take it up and reset it. You're not
I
going
had a
to,
question for the.
it needs to be put into concrete. You can leave the wood, but you need to put it into concrete 4x4s to hold it in place.
Yeah, well, that's even on the agenda a little farther down there.
Yeah,
So it
that's
could be,
why
yeah. So we need to fix the back porch, and we need to put some stronger curtains in the museum. Okay, go ahead, Mary?
Yeah, that's about the surface there in the budget.
I've been concerned every time we have the little models of the playground equipment out with kids because their hands walk over and then they're playing with the teeter-totter, and I understand that, but I am concerned. So I would like to see if we could either find or have made some kind of a clear plastic cover that we could put over those little items when they're out on display with the second grade group or with the, well, with any, really.
That'd help protect them, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, you mentioned a dome kind of thing, but
Or whatever we can
I was also thinking just
find.
a, you know, it's a plexiglass.
Plexiglass.
Yeah.
Square even. if
Yeah,
it's-
that'd probably be a better shape, actually.
I mean, I don't know what to use for the round thing, yeah. We could have probably something like that made even by,
Is
You
there
could probably-
still a bottle shop in Bowden? I wonder if they could maybe,
I don't know the model shop in Boulder anymore.
no.
Where did we get
In
the?
Gupkin, like.
The
Gupkin,
Yeah, McGuckins.
Made.
They were made by someone who's now, who was a commissioner, but who's now died.
Yeah.
I like that the kids can touch them. I like that
Yeah, but they're
interactive.
so fun.
Well, my question is, do we get a replica made that is, the kids can touch and dome the ones that were made?
History.
I don't know, I kind of like the touch and feel and interactive that the museum brings.
Yeah.
You know, they love picking up that piece of coal, right?
Yeah.
That one's so,
Well,
but
the cold.
the coal's not, but the just,
Yeah.
yeah. But as part of doming it, what do you do?
Or are there just parts of it that are a concern, you know, that you put under? I agree, though, I think it is nice. I get that
Yeah,
there's a
we-
problem with it a little,
4th of
but,
July, the first kid that came by started doing this with the teeter-totter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was, no matter how much I tried to tone him down, he was.
you know, we also have that display
Not this
case in there that has like the yearbook or that there's not really a reason why that stuff is in the display case, that glass case.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know.
I think the things that were in there just were so very old to put them in there.
Yeah, but we
But
could
it's-
always.
If you could,
Maybe
you could
use
get
it
another,
back.
I can just see a plexiglass display, because you could even use that museum tape stuff, putty, and, or glue them down inside of there, and then just carry it out, put it in there, and it might be, but I like the idea, like you said, interactive, but if you do want to protect that, you could put those in some kind of.
Well, I think we should protect it because that was a lot of work put in by a past member of the commission who's passed away, and I think that part we should really preserve.
Yeah, it's like a little historic thing on
Yep.
its own. And then whenever you take the roof off, it's so cool, you know, the kids love that too.
Oh, they do,
When you take
yeah.
the roof off of those buildings and show the stage and different things that are like going on.
I wonder if the Gaylord catalog or something would have
Maybe so.
things like that, but it'd be an easy thing.
I wonder if places like trophy places might make something out of plexiglass like that.
Mhm.
Maureen
yeah,
has
go
a
ahead.
comment on the surplus.
Okay.
My question, Larry, was how to use the surplus. Could it ever be directed into a scholarship fund for further education? I wondered if the commission could do that. Does its covenant allow that?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's a good question, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you might say that if there's money at the end of the year, you might give a $100 or $500 or something.
Well, Larry, my thought was to build a scholarship fund because the women from DU who did the graduate work did such a fine job. I was wondering if we could sponsor a community scholarship fund, say for topics like history and archaeology, or maybe even public administration for nonprofits. But I didn't know what your covenants were here. Sometimes it is not allowed.
Well, we'll have to explore that because that'd be, go to the budget person, I guess, and see if there are, what kind of restrictions there are on it.
The town
And
budget.
only, yeah, the town, because my guess is it probably can only be used for things directly.
I think you could recommend that.
Usable.
I think you could recommend that to us at the board level and say, we'd like to do a $500 scholarship in the name of, I'm sorry, I just lost my miner woman's name, you know, Independence Mine owner. Was it
Oh, Josephine.
Yeah.
Josephine.
Josephine. And so, it could be in her name even, which would be pretty cool. So for, like what Maureen was saying, for women that were in archaeology or historical, you could give if you had money left over, you could recommend a scholarship. And I think the board would be amenable to that. And I think we could actually do that, because we give other scholarships out and we pay for things.
Yes, well, that way the money would be used, but long term. You wouldn't necessarily always put something into that fund, but you could build it up. The way they fund higher education is really more on endowments and annuities.
Right.
You can set such things up. But I thought it would be a better use of the money than trying to spend it all. Sometimes we just don't have things to spend it on.
Yeah,
Maybe we should
that's a
build
great
another
idea.
$500 into the budget and have it be
A regular, or,
yearly thing.
and if you have extra, you put it into that fund, and then you could make a larger contribution or an endowment, like Maureen was saying. That's an excellent idea.
Tell her we'll pursue that.
Excellent idea.
It's a new area for us.
I'm wondering if we can spend any of that money on a
Yes,
museum.
well, there are legal
Sorry.
considerations since it comes from the town. I'm not sure how that works.
That's
We do already give out, as a town, grants. And we also pay for Chamber of Commerce portion of their budget, and there's other things that we do. Well, Kevin, you probably know better than I do, but there are different places where the town gives money out. So I think it's doable. We just have to look into it and create the parameters or the procedures for
Yeah, we
it.
could do one our high school student or something like that. As an interest in history.
Yeah, well, I like the college thing, though, like we were talking about, with women working through University of Colorado or any college higher. I like that idea, too. Keep women engaged young women engaged in archaeology and different technology-based
I want to come back
sciences.
to the spending ideas, and I'd like to throw in the cover over the jail
Yes.
Yes.
as a possibility.
Last meeting, we were talking about the jail cell cover, and then there was something about the front door that we were talking about with funding.
Front porch.
Was it? Well, she wrote down door, though.
Yeah.
You talking about the front door on the
house,
on the
Yeah.
house there,
Over there.
Grasso House?
down Grasso House.
Yeah.
That needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that's right. That is what it was, because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit tight because of that hasp is down so low.
Yeah, we need to have a different arrangement for securing that door.
As a sidebar to Mary's suggestion, plexiglass display case covers with base run between $18 and $50.
There you go.
Figure out the size of the base you need. I don't think that becomes capital is the point. I mean, that's a really easy fix.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is that at Amazon?
The Amazon has some. This is displays2go.com.
That's a lot.
All right.
Yeah, I
Because
know,
they came
that's
up
been great.
first, and then the Amazon did all the without bases. So it's
When
pretty
did you and
straightforward.
Mary work on acquiring that item before September?
Before the second grade field trips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mary,
I
tell
would
me the
love
size we
to.
need. And well, yeah, you actually have more knowledge of this.
Oh, yeah.
On displaying stuff than I.
I would love to do some museum upgrades. I mean, I would love to get a new display case, a new glass display case. I don't know if we can spend the money with that, It's usually, I'd say, a few $100s. We just have that back room. It's just that table, the two tables. It's just not a good use of space. And I was looking on Craigslist for a while, about a year ago, and I just kind of gave up, but I think that's important moving forward. Especially if we're going to be doing these exhibits regularly, we should be upgrading the museum a little bit. So, and keep in mind the museum displays that we're actually doing now with these exhibits, they are costing money, as we've talked about a little bit. And that's a discussion too. Do we want to keep doing that? They cost $100 to $200 usually for us printing them and then mounting them on the big boards. They're really, I mean, really nice. But we do need to, that is something now that all of a sudden we are spending money. You know, every 2 months we're spending about $100 or $200.
Well,
So
I think that's very, very
And the
much
way they
within
were
the scope
reused
here,
and
so.
received at the 4th of July,
yeah,
it's not a flash in the pan. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a big draw, I think.
Yeah.
That and the location, proximity to the fire truck.
Yeah.
Well, I
really
think
seemed
we
to-
keep doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be, you know, September, we might do, I mean, that would be something to discuss in the future, but in September, we might just reuse the Miss Orman, would be my thought. And then, but then we might do something for November. And if we're on top of it, we could do something end of December for the January one too. So that could be money.
Yeah, I still want to do one on the fire truck, but I'm like having some issues, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And could I interject here? We've talked about maybe not opening the first, the January, because we get almost
It's always
zilch
snowy or
people.
whatever, yeah.
So, well, it doesn't snow.
Oh, it's right
Just
after
don't come.
holidays.
So it wouldn't be worth putting effort to do some
A big
really
thing.
nice big display.
For the
I would
January
think.
one. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well, how about for the sake of time, what if in a couple of days you send us out and maybe we can work on prioritizing, putting an emphasis on it. And obviously, if the cover over the school items is that inexpensive, and the curtains are that expensive, we can just say go on those, huh? And, but if we want to do I asked Brian before he left if he'd done any research on the cover over the jail, and he hadn't. And you know, the back porch we keep bringing up, and it goes on the back burner. The back porch next to the back burner. So, and I think Walt's right. I think to do it right, you take the darn thing up and then reinstall it.
It's a victim of the soil.
It's sinking
This
slowly into the
wonderful
west.
soil we have in this town.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, some of these things, like if it turns out there isn't enough money, say, for a new display case, I think we could really prioritize that for 2018.
Yeah.
Because and that's going to be expensive, but worthwhile.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Maybe take care of some of the miscellaneous things. Well, not to cover up the jail, but the miscellaneous thing, maybe start right off in 2018, getting a new display case.
What about the broken window in the barn? I know the kids all pointed that out. Is that gonna, do we care or not about that? Up high, you know, isn't it up high, the broken window?
I guess we're replacing it to keep the weather out. We replaced that window up high, it would keep the weather.
It's up high on the barn. Yeah, up by the loft area, there's a glass broken out up there.
So it's open to weather. Door
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
barn.
It's not a very big window though.
Yeah.
But the glass
Well, that's
panes are
good.
broken.
Well, the door is pretty flimsy, it's about ready to fall apart.
Might have to actually replace the whole window, don't you think, rather than just the glass? I mean, you should take a
The
look
wood
at
might be in pretty bad
Yeah.
shape. Huh?
And it seems to me we put something in front of the window so they can't throw rocks through it.
Do a plexiglass replacement instead of.
Oh, that's a great idea, yeah. So someone doesn't just automatically.
Plexiglass storm window.
Well, we've got stuff to spend our money on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the cases cover its
Send the
windows.
Superior Plexiglass Company.
Well, I think we
Start a new
kind of
business.
covered number 11 when we covered number 10. Any other old business?
Just ask a question. What are these 4 devices along the table?
Have you heard of the Central Intelligence Agency?
Yes, I have.
Kevin, take it.
Yeah, so every one of these meetings are recorded.
Yeah.
So we've got video up there and microphones down here. So all of these are microphones.
Right. So
So
do
did you
these,
comb your hair, you know?
are these self-contained? Are these like
That's right.
thumb drives? Do they have the recording on the thumb?
No,
They go to the
it's
center.
wireless and it's being
Oh.
recorded in a back room over there, but this is the, picks up the sound.
That's right.
And then,
Wireless
they're just, and then we plug them in over there to recharge them.
Oh,
So
I
they're
see.
battery operated wireless and they pick up the sound.
Oh.
And then the video camera that we're only using one, right? That one up there, so that little device that's up there, so it takes a shot of the whole table.
Oh,
Our heads,
Yeah.
backs of our
What's done with the
heads.
recordings? How long are they kept?
Yeah.
They're kept,
But you could do.
I don't know how long the commissions and the committees are kept, but you can go back forever, as long as we've had them for the town board meetings and the planning commission. But I don't know the answer to the commissions and the
Yeah,
committees.
This has been going on for quite
Yeah.
quite a while, and I think these might be new, and that might be why they're
Yeah,
changing.
These are new, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It used to be, we have a round little platter, kind of like microphone that would be placed here with a wire on the end, but these are
Yeah.
fairly new.
Because they had wires, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
These are wireless speakers, microphone speakers.
right.
All of them stored on the town website, so you could go right away after this and
Okay. Just seeing
take a
the,
look.
Flashing.
So you don't say you want to overthrow the town.
You can say that. You can say anything you
Yeah,
want.
we may never see you again.
That's right.
Yeah, that might be interesting to follow up and find out how long these records of these meetings are kept. Well, let's move on into new business then, everybody. August 5th,
We're out of
opening,
town.
the usual
I'll try to be
suspects.
around myself.
Bob, I'll be around at least for most of the day anyway. Anybody else?
Out of town.
Okay, yeah,
Hmm?
me too.
Out of town.
Out of town.
Mary?
We're out of town.
The Wallies?
I don't know what our odds is, my.
We're here.
My tour coordinator.
My social director.
Walt, are you available?
I think so.
Well, we'll have somebody here anyway.
Depends when my brothers and his wife are leaving.
Bring him down and have him sit there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the round table will be held in August as usual, and so I guess I'll attend that. It always gives me an excuse to be able to get Mustard's Last Stand hot dog when I get here. So makes it worthwhile. Well, I haven't seen anything on NFRAM in a while.
Yeah,
What month is this? This
I
is-
wasn't sure of the schedule, that's why I put a question
Yeah.
mark.
there's always,
it is
I
very-
guess there'll be one in August. There usually is one in August.
August.
So that'd be it'd be just after our next meeting. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I'll let you know when NFRAM comes up again and see who's interested in going. I haven't seen anything. I've been kind of hinting, I don't know if it's, the future is strong for NFRAM. Oh, I did not put number 4 on the menu, on the menu, on the agenda. Did you?
I put it on.
Okay, take it.
Oh, well, I think the only reason that's there is that if somebody wants to go to that lunch, you're supposed to let Brian know.
Mhm.
I think, depends, we're going to Michigan for a meeting. I think we'll be back, but we're planning to go. So
And I only
I'll get ahold of Brian.
skimmed that. What's the purpose of the meeting with?
Well, I wasn't sure.
Okay.
There was a note when Brian sent it out, something about, it might be nice if some seniors went to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't
So
sure
There's
why.
many seniors in here that I
No.
know.
No. There's no excuse.
That's at Josephine
So as
Common.
I understand,
Yes.
this discussion about the senior services and what people are using, and thank you
What
for
they
that.
might want or need or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the town, we provide some money or grant or money to the Meals on Wheels program every year. And then the head of the Meals on Wheels has regular meetings with the mayor. And this is, the mayor and the head of the Meals on Wheels have created this opportunity for more Superior residents become familiar with the Meals on Wheels program. So if you know someone that might benefit from it, or yourself, if you would like to participate in it, because they say they would really like to be able to provide more services, meals services to people within Superior. They do already provide Meals on Wheels to different people. And it's not only for seniors, but it also for people that if you're housebound because of a hospital stay or some other accident or activity that keep you from being able to get regular meals or cook for yourself, then you can participate in this. So this was just kind of a, if you're not familiar with it, or if you are, you can come down to Josephine Commons. We'll take a bus from here, from Town Hall, and bus everybody over there, get your meal, meet with the other people that actually take their meal at Josephine Commons rather than having it delivered out to your house. Because you can do it both ways. You can go to Josephine Commons and eat, and anybody can go at any time you go in. I think, I can't remember, $6 or whatever the price is to pay for the meal. If you're, you just stop in and want to visit with people that are there and come and have the meal. So that's what this is. This is, the mayor is arranging this along with.
And Karen's got it on there because there's a deadline for RSVPing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know what the deadline was, but Brian just stated, let him know if you want to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they're going to start from here. They're going to, it might be in the call and ride buses or the town vehicles or both from Superior. Then we're, well, I'm going to be out of town. I'm at a Dr. Cog meeting that day, but others will be going with the mayor, I'm sure, and anybody who wants to go.
Where's it going to be at? I mean,
It's in Louisville?
Lafayette.
Or Lafayette, Josephine Commons.
It's just, you know where the old grain elevator is in
Yeah,
Lafayette?
well, way out there.
It's just north of that.
It's a senior housing thing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Right, yeah. And then that's where they make the meals, I think, and actually for the ones that are delivered. Right.
Got my.
At the Josephine Commons, I believe that's where they do it, and then they have a place where you can eat there too.
So I've got news on the second grade field trips, and I wrote it down from memory, so go ahead and put it in there. I feel confident, but I'll confirm it with you to make sure, so.
Oh, okay, you can just send me an email with the dates.
Yeah, we have our regular meeting on September 15th, so I told them not to, that's not available. So El Dorado is September 22nd, Superior, September 26th, and Monarch, September 29th.
29th?
Yes.
So we got 22, 26, and 29.
Yeah. And then what I haven't done is told the mayor and the board of trustees about that, so they can reserve the room, so I'll do that ASAP. And then speaking of the mayor, Katie and I have been in contact with Mayor Folsom about helping him put together this Mayor's Corner in the Rock Creek, what's the publication called? Rock Creek?
Rock Creek Living?
Rock Creek Living.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And so I was able to get something to him yesterday, and so since today was the deadline. And so it'll be about Miss Orman. Well, you read it too. So it'll be about Miss Orman. So we'll put the Miss Orman display back up in September. Yeah.
Great.
Under other new business, but speaking of Clint, Leslie is having 2 major surgeries. One was this week and one is next week. And I think we should, on behalf of us, send a card to her.
That'd be
So,
good.
yeah, the one, they had to do a surgery to prep, and then they're doing a second one, full labrum repair and all sorts of things.
They're breaking
in
her hip and redoing.
And she'll be hospitalized several days
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, it's very major, so.
And then rehab afterwards.
Yeah, so I think on our behalf, we should get a card.
So her first name is Leslie?
Leslie.
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 Another thing we may, if you want to, Karen, it was in the camera that Laverne Johnson's 90th is this Saturday. And if we wanted to send Laverne Johnson a birthday card from us.
Idea.
She's going to be square dancing.
Yes.
Oh, my.
There's an article in the Daily Camera.
Mm-hmm. Gotta save that back too, so. Laverne Johnson, boy, she's something else.
Yes.
Well, if there's no other new business.
There is one thing from Lydia.
Okay, yeah.
Lydia.
While you get ready,
Yeah.
while Kevin's telling us about that, let's get your sheet out. We can work on this. Anybody doesn't have one? Oh, someone actually turned theirs in?
Mine's the sideways
Holy
written
cow.
one.
Some kids did their assignments, huh?
They had it ready last time.
Oh,
They get,
okay, Kevin got some words from Lydia.
So Lydia over at Parks and Rec is helping to organize the Falls Prevention Week. September 18th through the 22nd. Falls Prevention Week is all about caution and safety, how to fall, all of that stuff. So different people in the community are doing different events and different programming for that week. And she was wondering if you, as a historical commission, would be willing or wanted to participate in that week in one form or another. She's willing to talk to you guys about what it would be, or open to suggestions of about what you guys would want to produce and offer there.
What's the dates again?
September 18th through the 22nd. It's called Falls Prevention Week.
How to fall. That's important.
Be like, how to not.
There'll be some security. I mean, it's all around. I mean, that's the thrust of it. And then other security and safety issues.
We already have the kids coming, so we have to be careful about
Tripping over
scheduling.
Well, Lindsay, would you like to take over then? Need a split?
I need a split, but thank you.
Sure, thanks.
Hopefully I'll see you in person in August.
All right.
Get a streak going here.
Really?
Try.
Go, Jill, go.
Yeah.
We'll have to, we'll pick that up.
What we use is measurement of space
Yeah.
needed, so if someone's there with the opening for August, can just email that. Go from there. Okay.
Great.
All right.
Okay, see ya.
Okay, well, I thought that it just seems like whenever we're talking about future plans, a lot of random things seem to come up in different areas. So if we can just go through different areas one by one, and then we'll have a better plan for what to do moving forward, maybe. There we go. Yeah. Did anybody else want one?
I'll take one.
She's got extra. Oh, that was the only one.
That's fine.
Okay.
I can look at yours.
Yeah.
You want to look
That's
on mine?
Okay.
Are you sure?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So if we did like 3 or 4 today, and then
She did email it, so
Probably good
it's an
strategy, I think,
attachment to an email she sent out this week.
Oh, okay.
So you probably have it on your computer.
Yeah, well, fine.
yes, Tuesday or something. So the first location is the museum building. So this, I was thinking, is sort of separate from museum displays. But we already talked about the back porch needs to be fixed. I don't know if there's anything else that really needs to change long-term with the museum building, or just thinking about regular maintenance and stuff like that.
Probably could do some maintenance on the front door, because the insulation is, there's a pretty good air gap up there between the door and the door jams.
A board fell off of that prior to the
Oh, the
Impact
screen door?
Sports Day.
Yeah.
There's a little board there.
Front screen door could have a little
The
maintenance.
screen door, yeah.
And the front door could probably have some improved insulation work done on it.
Yeah.
It's already
My-
has copper insulation.
Might put down there the hand pump outside one of the support support arms or whatever is broken.
Yeah.
Somebody suggested.
So I don't know what we need to do, what we can do about it, I'm not sure.
It needs to go to a weld shop,
Yeah.
so they can weld it back together, and then we can replace it.
Someone suggested somebody, lawnmower guys might have run into it and broke it, so. Kind of, looks like a likely explanation.
I think the lawnmower wheel hit it, because that's a pretty narrow spot. And
Yeah.
I don't think whoever's driving the lawnmower looked.
That would be possible.
But I think you take it to a welding shop, they can fix it, and we can.
Take it up to Danny.
We could work on some of the screw eyes.
Yeah.
Got a better shot at a weld shop.
Some of the wood
than a boulder.
is rotting where the screw eyes go in. We have screws and hooks and screws holding the screens in on the windows, and a couple of those are rotted. And so the screw eye keeps coming out. This is, I'm glad you're doing this today. These things are on my mind, I keep forgetting about them, so.
Okay.
Well, and a part of that, the porch thing I didn't bring up earlier, is that both front porch and back porch would be
Okay.
But I, kind of bugged Brian about that, but I think our warranty is passed by now, so we didn't get a good paint job on it.
Yeah, it was just repainted.
Yeah. Last, just a year.
Started peeling right away.
It did.
Now, are we having any problems with that front porch settling or shifting?
I haven't noticed, Wally.
Okay, I was just gonna say, if we're gonna do that with the back porch, we could maybe if we're having.
Part of
problems.
it's sinking and our part of it's going up.
But, maybe while we're doing it, they could address the front porch as well. If-
Might want
if
to
we
do
need
that, there
some-
might be
check it
rocked
out,
on some of those boards
Check it
now
out.
because they've been there, what, 8, 10 years, whatever.
Is there anything else that you've talked about or thought about where that you want to put around the building? Other pieces of, other buildings or more water pipes or outdoor kitchens or, I have no idea. I'm just throwing those out as, there's nothing else that you've come up with as a
Other than the
great big old building that
Yeah.
might be falling apart and just disintegrating here soon.
Uh,
I just throw that out there. Don't have to come up with
No,
anything.
we
It's
should
just,
think about that though, because there are other things we could put out that would be appropriate for being exposed to the weather. We should do that.
yeah,
Right
what
now, we
other
don't have
things,
anything.
what other things did they, minor household,
Well,
the
the
households
outhouse.
have, other than the outhouse?
The outhouse, which, as I understand, well, Bob knows better than me, outhouse, combination outhouse and coal house, right? Coal
Yeah,
shed.
coal house and the outhouses, of course. Ash pit, well, you got the ash pit there
I
now.
don't know if there's any
Right,
more
you got
left.
the ash pit.
If there's any more left in town any place, we can move the outhouse over.
Because you only have the one down at Grasso Park, right? But you don't have an outhouse up by the museum
That's right.
itself.
Well, you just have the port potty.
The pretend.
Oh, the pretend potty, the new version, the current version of,
Yeah, so when you go in there, you just have to pretend to use it.
yeah, pretend. And I don't know here, but, we always, on the farm I grew up on, and we didn't have running water or anything either till I was in 7th grade, but, we had clothesline, and we had an outdoor kind of
There's
cooking
the clothesline now,
kitchen.
clothesline.
Kitchen, those kind of things. And we always had an apple tree, and then, or a cherry tree or something, but I don't know here in Colorado, those kind of things. But I'm just thinking about because right now the museum is just a building sitting there by itself. If you want to make it look like more of your,
Clothesline would fit in real
Clothesline would be
good.
good.
We have to worry about the maintenance people getting hung up in the clothes.
well, if you put it high enough, or maybe don't even put the lines across there, but, you just, but it would be kind of cool, you could hang things on it when you have the museum open,
Sure.
if nothing else, a flag or a banner. or
Name Bob on it.
See what you started now?
I only thought of that because my mom was just talking about that,
Put your undies on it.
I said I washed clothes last Monday morning, and Mom goes, well, Monday morning is when you wash your clothes. She's 87, I said, that's when you wash it. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm turning into my mother.
Okay.
Okay, while we're still in the museum, I don't know if this would enter into that, but do we have a alarm system on the actual museum, or is it only down in the basement?
Yeah, we need to have that clarified. You throw that back on Brian, because we got in a situation, but I think we've kind of concluded that if someone tries to get in via the downstairs door, the alarm will go off. But if anybody goes in the upstairs door, we don't think anything will happen.
Well, there isn't anything on the doors or
Yeah,
the
there's no,
windows or anything.
you're right.
That's where we really need, well, we need it in both places, but I think the upstairs is
That's
really important.
Who monitors the alarm, or where does the alarm go?
It goes to Phyllis, and then she says, the historical commission made a mistake again, and the county calls. No,
But that's just down in the basement, yeah.
it goes to a central place, but then they call the town and says, should we send somebody out or not?
Well, you could actually set a electric eye, infrared, and you don't need it on the door, you could just have it shoot through the house. from front to back, and then if
Yeah.
someone gets in there and moves around,
Yeah.
or if a raccoon goes in there and moves
This is a
around.
security system, centralized security system.
Well, then that's all, you could add that easily with battery and everything.
would
You
think
could
so.
add an
Yeah, what we have
infrared.
in our house would
Or,
work.
not infrared,
Museum better than
electric
it
eye.
works in our house.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since there were, people hanging around there
Yeah.
last year.
It can be added, it's wireless and it's just battery operated, so it can be attached to that. You don't have to go and wire the doors or anything,
Yeah.
just shoot it through the house.
This is good. We're getting this written down, as we always
Right,
talk about these
so I'll
things,
type
and
up
2 months
everything
later, we
and
say,
then-
hey, whatever happened to that?
Yeah. Then we can prioritize for future
Good going.
use. Okay, museum displays. So this doesn't have to be like every display you would like to see in the
We-
future of the.
Is that what you want to say?
We discussed that already. Well,
Well, I have a
Lots
few,
of them.
I always have something to say about displays,
Yeah.
so. I have a few
Display
things.
cases.
I just, because of my work background too, I just feel like we need to increase the usable space in the museum, so getting a new display would be really great. And I just remember when I started and I went to the museum and there was like, I think we've tried to clear some of this out, but it's still, like there's chairs in the closet. It bothered, like, I don't want anything in the museum, that would be my opinion, that doesn't relate to, like that one closet where the bedroom is. We're still storing, like that's what the basement is for. I just feel really strongly about using, do we have things in the basement that should be put in the closet? And we do have like the shirt, we have a shirt in there, but should we, like, I don't like the, and one of the first times, I kind of cleared out a bunch of stuff from that main, like the pantry too, just to make sure that we are using the space wisely, that it's, people walk in and they don't see metal chairs in the closet. They see, this is what a closet's gonna look like, then the pantry is the pantry we're there, but just increasing, using every space. And I know people feel very strongly about the quilt. It's a beautiful, wonderful, big quilt, and it's important, and it's one of a kind. It also takes up a huge, huge wall that could also be could be a rotating exhibit wall.
Oh, you mean
The framed.
transportation display?
Yeah, and it's wonderful, but
Rotate.
yeah, that's just a huge wall that is, I think it's okay to have some like stagnant spots in the museum that are permanent,
Stay where it's at.
but I would love to actually have like that room be the rotating. And it's just it's okay to take, and I could work, have experience, like, it's okay to take that stuff down every once in a while and move it back up.
It's better for it to rest and be out of the light and all that
Right,
too.
Yeah,
so,
but the thing of it is, if you're talking about the flower sacks that are up there that have that, I think if you're gonna start taking that down, then we're gonna have to try and carry it down the stairs
yeah.
and into the basement. And then we have to consider, are we gonna end up breaking the glass out of that? That's got that,
Yeah, it's got infrared,
it's got that, some kind of glass in it.
yeah. The ultraviolet
Yeah.
shield, yeah. Well, that's what, $600-800 it would pay for that.
We didn't
Yeah.
install that either, the town guys did, so I don't know
Yeah.
how it's installed.
Yeah.
So that's just something to bring up. I know people feel strongly both ways on it, so.
If we decided, hey, this is just too awkward to move, we could put something on the front of it and use the front of it
Yeah,
for other
have like a fountain
displays.
hanging, yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Something like
so-
that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The
I also.
chairs are kind of a necessity, because we have to sit down someplace.
I think she means that stack of them that's
Oh, yeah.
off the bedroom.
Because if we have 5 people there, we've got to have
Yeah, but there might be more, yeah, I know.
We use
But I
those a
think
lot.
there's
Yeah.
more.
I'd hate to carry them all up from the basement every time.
But I like what you're saying. I like if
That's
people would
not
open
a
that
good way
curtain
for
and
us
they'd
older
see
people
some
to go.
overalls hanging on
Yeah,
the
and we
nail.
have
Hold
that,
down
we
the
have
stairs.
stuff in the basement,
Yeah.
and I think we just
Hold
need
on the stairs
to
on top of the chairs.
use the space. I just remember when I first came in, I was just a little confused. Is this a living museum? Is it is it exhibits? Is it, why is this here? I want to be collecting the right things and displaying the right things. And I know the chairs, we use them. But there's other thing, that whole rest of that closet could be used. And you want people to stay for a long time and not only be there for 10 minutes. And
Right.
so just using the space more. And I also would love to do a display on Rock Creek with maps and information for residents, just talking about, we just have to have some type of exhibit that's going to bring some of the Rock Creek people to the museum, you know, and that probably would relate to what's under you, what's under your houses, where were the mines, which gets a little like, do we really? But you know, with maps and how Rock Creek's, what was Rock there before, I think that would be nice.
Great.
Yeah.
And everybody who buys a house signs that they know they're sitting on top of old coal mine tunnels.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a surprise to them, and there's no problem with identifying that. It's pretty cool when you talk to them and talk about, you know, even like Flatiron Mall, and isn't that the Monarch Mine over there?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they say, and then I'll say, well, you know, that's why it's called Monarch High School. It's not because of a butterfly.
That's right.
It's because of the Monarch Mine. And they go, wow. You know, so people don't even recognize the connection. And that Monarch Mine is just past where the dog park is, and the, you know, all that, just right over that direction. And yeah, so I think that would be very interesting to show how far the mine actually extended underneath Rock Creek. You mean the development of Rock Creek, yeah.
And then the, like, Autry Homestead was over there too, so
Mhm.
then people will know where different names for things
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my main thing.
That's great.
Talking about displays, one thing that we're missing, in my opinion, is I'm going to call it the heat shield under the potbelly stove. Because the potbelly stoves had a heat shield on there, so you know, you wouldn't drop ashes or coals on the floor, and then also wouldn't get the house on fire. And I haven't been able to find one. I've kind of looked around a little bit, but I don't know where else to look
I wonder
anymore.
if Danny would have something. I wonder if Danny would have something.
Just
I
rubbish around.
might bug him. I haven't bugged him for a while.
How about McGuckins? Have you tried McGuckins?
Do they sell Potbelly?
Oh, they sell
Well,
from
They have a lot of stuff. I
Because you
haven't,
could put a wood burning stove on top of something like that too, so
Yeah.
you might have something like that down
I don't know, it's just a thought. They
Yeah.
seem to have.
I never thought about them, yeah.
Look on
I
eBay.
looked around some of the antique stores up around
Yeah,
Fort
that's-
Collins.
there. I think so. Google it like
Yeah.
Jill did a few minutes.
Anyway,
It pretty well got used and
yeah. But it was a big part of the living room, I'll tell you.
This is just a very simple question. It's nothing to do with this actually. Was there a connecting way between the Monarch Mine and the industrial mine underground?
No, but some of the old timers have suggested that it wouldn't have taken much to connect the tunnels.
Oh, okay. I just wondered if it
As far
was.
as I know, it never happened.
I've heard.
They're owned by different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Companies, right.
I was just.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that there is something there.
Apparently got
Others
pretty
say
close.
There isn't.
Yeah.
But wasn't that mine entrance over by,
The Monarch Mine?
You
the
know-
Monarch Mine was
Near
over by the
Storage Tech.
Flatiron Mall, wasn't it?
No,
Near
it was
Storage
over,
Tech.
you know where this new housing development is, they've got all kinds of
Storage
apartments.
Tech.
Yeah, okay.
It was in that
On that side?
general
Okay.
area over there.
It wasn't,
It
but it
wasn't.
extended up
Yeah,
to.
it extended, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't, okay, I got it.
The explosion in 1936 was in a secondary.
Over, closer to the Flatirons, I think.
Yeah,
Right,
it was-
yeah,
That
okay.
wasn't the main shaft.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
Okay.
Okay, my ideas for museum displays, well, we need to have something on the influenza epidemic next year.
Oh,
Oh.
we had a dear anniversary.
Yeah, and that'd be cool if we could go to the cemetery with that.
Is that where the 3 children all died at the same, you know, within a few weeks of each other?
It was 1918, I think.
I think it was, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There-
theory was, yeah, what, or in your Superior Historian
Yeah.
article. You put that
That's a
in there.
great idea, because didn't you say the children were concerned about that, or saw that there were
They
children
noticed.
or
They-
died within a few weeks of each other in
Yeah.
the same year?
Yeah.
It impressed them, didn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
I don't know
a
if it was
great idea.
related to that or some other kind of a epidemic or a disease.
It was a
Yellow
obviously
scarf
huge epidemic
fever or something.
Obviously.
But yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
how much it affected
Then
them.
we could do combine an opening, cemetery opening with a display or something.
Yeah. And then I think, I mean, we could do the Rock Creek display too, but it'd be nice to have some more stuff on the history of Superior after the mine closed, so in that
Mhm.
in-between period, especially with some people still living here from that time. And, just in the museum house, like maybe in the bedroom, it would be nice to have something talking about the museum house itself and like how, we got it in the town and.
Oh, yeah, we had talked about that, huh? That you go in that room and it's kind of like you're wanting, it would, when we have a wall, you could put it right above the sewing machine, right? A display
Yeah, or
about it.
something more about actually living there.
Mhm.
And then, you guys did all those oral history interviews about what it was like to be in the house and the paint colors and wallpaper and things like that, so.
Yeah, and then there's that historian on that too, so you could probably come up with a display board like you have for Ms. Lerman and Ms. Roche.
Yeah, or even something smaller that could be more permanent
With that
there.
location, it could be a
Yeah.
horizontal thing too.
This is more recent history, but, we have a lot of pictures of the house when it was located on Zuni, and then bringing it over, and
Yeah, I think that'd be
that's
really.
recent history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know where it was? Do you have a picture of it in the mine camp at all or not?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
which one it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that would, I don't know, I can't
Yeah.
remember if it's there that points out this house was sitting there in that picture.
We
That'd
could,
be good.
we could extract that from the photograph.
When you were talking to the kids from the summer camp, day camp, it was interesting when you were telling them about pool halls and grocery stores and things like that, because they're having a difficult time, I think, seeing the house sitting there on the corner by itself, and all around it is Target and Costco's and things like that.
Yeah.
But then you show them the little models of the schoolhouse building in. But it'd be kind of cool to have some kind of models or pictures or point to, this was the actual pool hall, because they said, oh, do you play pool in that, that. So some of them got that, or they figured that out. But somehow to show that house as part of a living community, not just sitting on that corner by itself, I think would be good. Not that you don't do it, but more
No,
bring it in
we
like
have
what
some
you're.
amazing photos, and I know even when I tell people that I'm on this commission, they're like, oh, and there was a mine. Oh, where, well, it's on the hill.
Yeah.
Where,
Wow,
so
yeah.
yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 really great photos that maybe we just need to blow up so everyone can just really see
Right.
where it was.
Right.
We have them, obviously, we have them all over. We have them in all the little, in the books and on the boards, but it'd probably be neat to have a big one.
Or even when I first moved here, this doesn't do with historical as much, but in Rock Creek, they had all these plexiglass covered maps and pictures of where you could take the trails and what you would see there and things like that. So it wasn't a historical, it was more what kind of wildlife, what kind of wetland and all that. They were kind of like you'd stop and you look and go, okay, I'm going to go down here, and in Purple Park, this is what I'm going to find. So since you don't have enough room inside the building, maybe we should think about in the future, is there any way we could do kind of a little walk around Asti Park and do a little tour where you say, here's a picture of what the mine looked like. Here's the town, here's a picture of something else. Maybe do a little walking tour around the park.
Yeah, with pictures. And I think that.
With pictures.
Like, that's sort of what Jill, but that's sort of what she was envisioning, like having with like the QR code thing where you would like have a spot where you'd stop and then you'd be able to hear somebody talk for a minute or two about the site and then have a picture, you know, a historical picture that goes with it or something like that. But yeah, I think that's a really good like long-term thing to,
Right,
to
right.
think about. And I think like, it'd be nice to have a brochure with a walking tour in it that you would know where to go.
Well, that's excellent. So I was thinking about when you go to the Denver Museum or other large museums, you know, you get the little headphones and you stop in front of the picture and go, oh, okay, that's what Van Gogh was thinking about before he cut his ear off, you know, I mean, and things like that. So that would be good. Okay.
Okay, let's do Asti Park last and then
Okay.
but we already talked about maybe anything else we would want to put around the museum building. Is there anything else in Asti Park that we need to think about?
Have we moved the coal wagon yet?
No.
Where is that going to go to? Over here, though?
I don't think that's been decided.
So put that somewhere. I don't know
Yeah,
where
I'll
it
put it on
goes.
What's the future for the building there?
Either the town's going to knock it down, or otherwise someone's going to buy it or take it over and use it, but it hasn't been decided yet. But if we keep it as a town, most likely we'll just knock the building down because it's almost uninhabitable. Because there were so many raccoons and animals and things that go inside of it, and it's cold and it's hot and it's all this kind of thing. But that hasn't been decided yet, so I don't know if someone will buy it or be given it. But we own the land too, the little corner, and some people, so nothing's been decided for sure.
I have something else.
Well, maybe you want to
This
put
is
that coal
stimulating.
car over in your new development over there because that would tie in with the coal industry, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, better wait till it's-
That's, again, then you have someplace about, oh, you have it there. But I think the Historical Commission should figure out where you want it, you know?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be moved after the whole, you know, dragging off
Yeah, when they
incident.
tried to steal it.
But then it hasn't been, so.
Yeah, well, that's something that could go on here, on your list?
Yeah, I
Yes.
just put it, I put it on the next page, so we're good.
Well,
Thank
We
you.
have to decide about that.
Yeah.
then, I have thought about Astor Park and the museum building, made me think about when the building first opened, they planted a whole bunch of heirloom plants in the flower beds. And over the years, all we have left is those, whatever they are, those big, great, huge things that get, they flower and they're very pretty, but that's all there is. So maybe we should have some landscaping around the building.
And more trees? Do you want more trees there or not? Yeah, in the
That's
park
up-
itself?
That's up to Parks and Rec. They had a master plan when they did that, so.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, you
they
could
planted
recommend it.
Trees there too.
Yeah,
They-
yeah.
Specific plants that went back to the 1930s, as I recall. and
that's
trees.
great.
So-
Last year there were columbines there, but I don't think there are any this year.
I haven't noticed it.
It's hard
Well,
to
there
keep
were
the
some
native
columbines on the west
flowers
side of the building.
when the sun beats down
One
on
time,
them.
right.
They
There was a
they
variety
blossomed
of
out pretty
plants.
nice there in the springtime. I don't
There are a variety of plants in the flower beds.
But
That was a couple of
Columbine
species.
is pretty sensitive.
Okay.
Pretty sensitive. They usually want the protection of the trees too, you know, or some kind of bushes or something. Yeah. That's what happens with most of the wildflower seeds. After a while, they basically die out because it's just too intense. The sun and the dry, and then you water them. Irrigation water isn't really good for them. They're not used to, it's too much water or a different kind of water. And so you usually lose. It's just like Wildflower Park that's been created now. The wildflowers look great right now, but every few years you're gonna have to replant them and start over.
Anybody think of anything else for Astor Park?
Just a comment, Ted Aste's in an assisted living home.
Oh, is he?
In Broomfield or someplace. Where, I don't know. And he's been down there now for a couple of months.
Oh, okay.
This is a big if, but there's still the community building that Danny owns. You know,
Yeah, we
the
don't
feasibility of that,
Yeah.
who knows?
Okay. I think we did ask, I'm trying to remember if we, the town board, asked for an assessment of that, or if we asked for it out of the commission, I can't remember. But I know I had this conversation with Matt Magley, that we should kind of get that assessed once and for all.
The condition?
The condition, you know,
It's,
whether or not it even makes sense to think about it anymore, because it could be just so bad that it's like a matchstick,
Yeah.
you know, an old
It's
matchstick
gonna
box.
take-
And
it's gonna
if
take-
you know, move it,
It'll take a few dollars to do that.
and does it, or will it just fall apart and you rebuild it
Yeah.
all over again?
I don't know.
And I'm not saying one way or the other, I'm just saying we should get some kind of, and maybe that's what we should put down. If that did go, it would go in Asti Park, wouldn't it? Wasn't that where it was supposed to go? So put that down there, that assess the viability of that. And I think we talked about that, and I can't remember if it was here or at a board meeting again, about even if you get it, if the walls look pretty bad when you drive past there and walk past there, but if the roof is kind of good, maybe it ends up being that you keep the roof and not the walls, you know, or something like that. But it's just really assess it, determine whether or not, do an evaluation, does it make sense or not? Or maybe we do something that's a recreation of it, or if you could have some kind of a structure that looks like that you could hold events inside of with, you know, cover.
Pavilion or something.
Yeah, pavilion, there's a lot of opportunities.
And are there other houses, like the Mine House, that are still out there?
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's a long-term, that's a big, big project, but that is another, that it could
Some of them were
be.
moved to Louisville and converted into, expanded. There's that one out on Huron, as far as I know, it's still out there.
So expensive.
Near Highway 7.
What about that one that's over here on Marshall Road? Wasn't that gray house? Wasn't that one of the?
It wasn't the mine camp.
Oh, wasn't
No, it
my
wasn't.
camp house? Okay. I thought it would have been added on, okay.
Located here.
I'm pretty sure that's the old Stelmach.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was, and from what I understand, that was not actually in the city limits of Superior. That
That's
was
what, yeah. it was-
Okay. It's fine.
We could have an historical park, bring in buildings from all over the place.
Yeah.
But,
Were we only going to talk about those few and then?
Yeah.
Can I add something to your list, you know, to think about? I did a tour of the Parks Recreation, you know, back behind the scenes kind of thing a couple weeks ago. It was really great to see how Parks and Rec and the trails and everything. But is it the Hake Farmhouse over here in the open space along Coal Creek in original town Superior? It's
You talking about
behind,
the foundation?
well, yeah, they got we own that as a town, that open space.
Okay.
We own, there's a old corral there, there's no buildings anymore. There's a corral, and
Yeah.
there's the fence and the rock, and I
Yeah.
think, you know, of where the house was inside of
Yeah.
that, and there's apple trees and plum trees and all this kind of stuff. But that area back there, after seeing it, I said, oh, we as a town have got to turn that into a usable park with trails. Usable being that I think it should be an open space park, not a purple park, you know, not
glamour.
grass mowed and all that. But we need to turn it into something that's a historical park that people could walk through. And I would like the Historical Commission to put that on there. What would you like to see in there? Maybe that's where you have some of this walking, you know, placards and signs that say, this is one of the original, blah, 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 blah. But all along and through that open space along Coal Creek going to the west,
Okay.
from 3rd Avenue on Coal Creek, which 3rd Avenue ends right there. So we could go from 3rd Avenue, where we put a lot of money in the town and the urban drainage to create this really nice place where you could actually sit, there's a park bench there now, and rocks and things, and you could start there, and you could go all the way along the creek to the west, and create a really nice open space park environment along there, and walk through what was the Hake Homestead.
Is there a trail through?
There's not yet, but we need to make one. We need to make one.
And tie it into the current.
Yes, and then
bike
tied into all of that open space trail that is Boulder County Open Space Trail that goes, now you can get to it by going up 2nd Avenue and taking a right and going up into that trail along the mine. Yeah, the single tree, and then you can get to it from this side, going this side of the creek and going up and in there too. But put that in the future is, what would if you could design that, if the Historical Commission could design the perfect open space, historical, homestead, park and trail system, what would it look like? What would your
Patrick and I took
recommendation?
a walk down there a couple of years ago, and he, so it's been on his mind for a while. There's also that well house down in there.
Pump
right?
house
Yeah.
is still down there.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right there too, they said
Yeah.
that, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's been on Patrick's mind. I think it's like a lot of things never got off the launching pad yet, so.
Well, we
Yeah.
have money in the open space fund, so we can pay for
Now,
it.
is that old well house, is that part of Superior's property?
Yep.
Oh, it is, okay.
Mhm. We own that space, and as open space already, it's ours.
That borders the Remington development, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Because I thought at one time when that was going to be a wildlife sanctuary, so to speak, in there. But I mean, that could still be the park.
It could still be that, you
Sure,
know.
I'm just saying that I thought at one time.
More natural area, but with
Yeah.
trails that go through it along the creek itself.
That sounds true.
We don't use the creek yet, you know, the town doesn't, Coal Creek I'm talking about. And since we own that land, and then from 3rd Avenue to 36 here, that's private property, all on both sides of the creek. We can't really do anything with that. But then now we're going to be redoing the creek on the other side of McCaslin here. And that's, we're going to use open space funds to do that. It's our land too. So I just think it would be really great to do that. And if you have recommendations of how you would like that site communicated or discussed or preserved, now would be the time to start giving that in
We're all on our
recommendation.
way to noon o'clock here, so.
Noon o'clock.
Yeah, and,
I wonder, would it be possible to use the water pumping station to make a small water feature through there?
Don't know if it's, I don't know, that's a good question to ask, yeah.
Okay, I just wondered if you have the water rights or whatever, whether you could divert some Colquitt's water just around,
Yeah.
just through the park and out back into
I
Colquitt.
think that's a side of the spring, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a spring there too.
Oh,
so
Could be that we could do that.
Fairly good water source there.
And we can do anything we want with our reuse water, you know, our reuse water, because we even talked about that, about pumping some water on Coal Creek here from right here through Town Center, when it's dry, you know, to always maintain 6 to 8 inches of water flowing through there. Because we have a lot of reuse water available. And if you go into Purple Park over here, that waterfall is all reuse water that keeps getting pumped up and flowing down as a waterfall. Rock Creek, a diversion of Rock Creek, a little spur comes off and will naturally, during runoff or heavy rain, a little bit of water will come off underneath the McCaslin. That's not reuse, it's actual water. But we can reuse the water as much as we want. We have that right to do that. So that's a possibility too.
Lindsay, thanks for.
Oh, yeah, I'll type up in.
Let's continue it.
Yeah.
That's a
But,
great
Next
idea.
meeting, I think, 2 or 3 more at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Anything else for the good of the order? Take a volley.
I make a motion, meeting be adjourned.
I'll second.
Lindsay won, okay. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you sometime in the.
Yeah.
No fighting with the wall and Lindsay.
Yeah, it always is.
Bye.
And it's warmer over here than in your space, isn't it?
No, I think that.
It's always cold. Yeah, it's always cold over there because you're in that ice building.
I don't know anything wrong with that whatsoever.
You too,
Yeah.
Stay out of the yellow jacket.
I'm good, good.
I did not catch what Jill was talking about.
Take out those 3 boards on the board.
Hey.
I will have,
20 to 1, there's
What's
nests
her name?
underneath.
I know, I have my glove, I'm gonna have my gloves on.
And, sounds like it's pretty serious stuff, so.
Oh, okay.
David, how you doing?
Yeah, but that's the more reason to do whatever I want. Actually, my usual,
I'm gonna say,
yeah.
you have the same job I do.
Next, I stand on the side.
That would be really good. Oh, okay, and I,
Got there.
okay, that's good, because I also think that they should.
Except for that guy there, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, right.
So that would be, you know, there's a tree in front of it.
Yes,
Because when I stand there and wait to see a bus in Denver or to the airport, I think, what, 90th Street?
Down to where that
Yeah,
was
that's
named
good.
off the
Okay,
farm was.
so you,
Get something done with that. Now we're doing me off the farm.
yeah, and then I'm on the Dr. Pond, the Denver Regional Council of Government with RTD. And I know the guy there.
That would be really good. It's gonna be a wildlife thing. What she's talking about doing, we can't incorporate that in here, but get water in here. Well, yeah, get that water in there.
That'd be great. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that barn down.
Okay. Oh, okay, I know who that is. I could just keep it on my computer. Thank you all. Yeah. Okay.
The last 10 years, close to
Okay.
the last 10 years, he was reduced from stop running the
Well, that'd be great. Yeah, send me the information and I'll share with I mean, to see if I can get somebody to help us some money.
All right.
We might, yeah, you guys might get with RTD. We want to redevelop that whole bus stop over here in the marketplace. And RTD